My parents skipped my wedding for my sister's emergency. That turned out to be a spa day. I removed them from my life. That same night. A year later, they wanted back in. Just let that title sit. A wedding. The wedding. A day a man has been planning for months. A day where his parents were supposed to be there to see him get married. The biggest day of his life. And they didn't come because his sister had an emergency, and it was a spa day. And he removed them from his life. Completely. That same night. For a whole year, he didn't speak to them. And then they tried to come back. This is not a small family disagreement. This is a complete severing of a parent-child relationship. And I want you to understand why before we dive into the full story. Because the backstory matters. The context matters. And by the end, you're going to understand why this person made the choice they did. So that's what I'm reading to you today. The full Reddit post, everything. Okay, so before I read this full post, I want to give you some context. This story is from our JustNoFamily and our AmItheAsshole. It blew up, like thousands of comments, because people are divided on whether this person was right to do what they did. Some people say you were absolutely justified. Your parents made their choice. Other people say, but they're still your parents? You should have tried to reconcile sooner. And the original poster is sitting there, reading these comments, probably questioning whether they did the right thing. So I want to read the full story from his perspective. Because once you understand what happened on that wedding day, and once you understand the relationship leading up to it, you're going to understand why he made that choice. This isn't a story about a parent-child relationship that was always perfect, and then one thing went wrong. This is a story about a lifetime of being treated second best. And the wedding day was just the final straw. So let me tell you what happened. Okay, so the post starts. I'm 32 years old. I got engaged 2 years ago to the love of my life. We started planning our wedding immediately. Everything was perfect. We had the date set for April 15th. We sent out invitations. We booked the venue. My parents said they were coming. They were excited. Or at least that's what they said. But here's the thing about my parents. They've always treated my sister differently. She's 3 years younger than me, and somehow she became the golden child. Growing up, my sister got better gifts on her birthday. Better grades? My sister got praised. My grades got criticized. My sister wanted to drop out of college. My parents supported her. I wanted to change majors. They told me I was being irresponsible. Everything revolved around my sister. I thought once I was older, it would change. I thought once I had my own life, it wouldn't matter anymore. I thought the favoritism would fade, but it didn't. It just evolved. When I got engaged, my mother's first question was, "Is your sister in the wedding?" I said, "Yes, she's a groomsman." My mom said, "Oh, but shouldn't she be a bridesmaid? That's more of a sister role." Do you see what's happening here? Even at my wedding, it was about my sister. But I let it go. I didn't want drama. I wanted my wedding to be perfect. 2 weeks before the wedding, my sister calls my mom. And my sister says she has an emergency. An emergency on my wedding weekend. My mom tells me that my sister needs her. My sister is going through something. And my mom and dad need to be there for her. 1 week before my wedding, I asked what the emergency was. My mom said, "It's personal, but your sister really needs us." And I said, "Mom, my wedding is in 1 week. Can this emergency wait?" And my mom said, "Honey, I'm sure you'll understand. Family first. Family first." At my own wedding, do you see what's happening here? His own mother is telling him that his sister's emergency is more important than his wedding. His wedding. And he doesn't even know what the emergency is. He's just being asked to accept it. Let me keep reading what actually happened. The day of the wedding arrives. I'm getting ready. I'm nervous, excited, happy. This is the day I've been dreaming about since I was a kid. And I keep thinking, where are my parents? They should be here. My dad should be helping me with my tie. My mom should be taking pictures, but they're not. My best man asks me, "Are your parents coming?" And I have to say, no. They had to deal with a family emergency. And I can see the look on his face. Like, your sister's emergency is more important than your wedding? The ceremony happens. It's beautiful. My bride is stunning. Everything is perfect. But there's this hole. This absence. Because my parents aren't there. After the ceremony, during cocktail hour, my sister shows up. Yes, my sister, who's not even in the wedding anymore because she had to be with my parents for this emergency. She shows up during cocktail hour. And I'm like, "Where are mom and dad?" And she says, "They're coming. They just wanted me to get there first to set things up." Set things up for what? It's a cocktail hour at a venue. There's nothing to set up. But then I see them. My parents. They finally arrive. And my mom hugs me and she's like, "I'm so sorry we missed the ceremony, but your sister really needed us. We'll explain everything later." My sister really needed them for an emergency, so much so that they missed their son's wedding. I don't know what comes over me in that moment, but I ask my sister directly, what was the emergency? And my sister, she hesitates for just a moment. And then she says, I'll tell you later. But I push. I say, tell me now. What was so important that Mom and Dad couldn't come to my wedding? And she looks at my mom. My mom looks at my dad. And then my sister says, I was having a mental health crisis. I said, okay, what kind of crisis? She said, I didn't want to talk about it. And I said, you didn't want to talk about it, but it was important enough for our parents to miss my wedding. And then my wife, thank God for her, she overhears this conversation. And she asks my sister directly, did you spend the day at a spa? And there's this long silence. My sister's face goes red. And my mom says, it's not that simple. And that's when I know. I know my sister spent the day at a spa. And I know my parents helped her do it. And I know they lied to me about an emergency. I asked my sister directly, did you go to a spa? She didn't answer. I asked my mom, did you go to a spa? She didn't answer. My dad wouldn't even make eye contact with me. So I left the reception. I went outside. And I made a decision right there. I went back inside. And I gathered my parents. I said, we need to talk, now. They followed me to a quiet room. And I said, my sister went to a spa for the day. And you missed my wedding for that. You lied to me about an emergency and you missed my wedding. My mom tried to explain, honey, your sister was having a bad day. She needed a self-care day. We didn't think it was a big deal. And I cut her off. I said, you didn't think missing my wedding was a big deal? My dad said, we knew you'd understand. And I said something I've never said to my parents before. I said, I don't want you in my life anymore. My mom's face went white. She said, what? And I said it again, clearer this time. I'm done. I'm done being the second choice. I'm done being okay with you treating me like I don't matter. I'm done accepting that my sister's spa day is more important than my wedding. My sister started crying. My mom tried to touch my arm. My dad said, don't do this. But I was done. Years of favoritism, of being treated like I didn't matter, of my needs being secondary to my sister's, it all came pouring out. I said, you have until the end of tonight to leave. You're not welcome at my reception. You're not welcome in my new house. You're not welcome in my life. If you try to contact me, I will block you. And I left. My wife and I went back to the reception. We didn't mention my parents once. We didn't let it ruin our night. But I meant every word. That night, I blocked my parents' numbers. I blocked them on social media. I removed them from my life completely. And I didn't talk to them for a full year. Okay, so let's pause here for a second. This man just severed his relationship with his parents on his wedding day because they chose his sister's self-care spa day over his wedding. And I know some of you are thinking, that seems extreme. But let me ask you something. Would you miss your child's wedding for a sibling's spa day? The answer is no. You would not. So he made a choice. He removed them from his life. And for a year, he didn't speak to them. A year goes by. And it's actually really nice not having them in my life. I know that sounds harsh, but it is. Without my parents constantly favoring my sister, without that dynamic, I can just live. I can be happy. My wife and I build our life together. We don't have the stress of family drama. But here's what happens during that year. My sister gets into some trouble. Not spa day trouble, real trouble. I don't know the details because I've cut off all contact. But apparently she was in a bad place. And without me and the family, without someone actually setting boundaries and calling out the favoritism, my parents had to deal with her. Consequences. They couldn't save her. They couldn't bail her out emotionally or financially. And it was apparently hard on them. So after a year, my mom calls me from a different phone number because I blocked hers. And she says, please, just listen for 5 minutes. I almost hung up, but I didn't. I listened. She said, I know we hurt you. I know we made a terrible choice. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She cried. She told me that my sister has been struggling. That my sister needed professional help. That the spa day wasn't actually a spa day. It was my sister asking my parents to take her somewhere because she was having a breakdown. And they should have told me that. They should have said, your sister is in crisis and we need to be there for her. But we're so sorry we're missing your wedding, and we understand if you're angry. Instead, they lied. They made it seem like it was nothing, and then they acted shocked when I was upset. My mom said, we should have told you the truth, and we should have prioritized your wedding. And I said, yes, you should have. She said, can we try again? And I said I didn't know, because a year had passed. And I realized something. I didn't need them anymore. I had built a life without them, and it was okay. The things I thought I needed from them, the approval, the presence, the support I had found in my wife, in my friends, in myself. So when they tried to come back, I had to ask myself, what are they adding to my life? And the answer was nothing. They were only taking away. So I told my mom, I'm glad you understand that you hurt me, but I'm not sure I want you back in my life. You had your chance, many chances, and you chose my sister over me, so no, I'm not ready to reconcile. My mom asked, will you ever be ready? And I said, I don't know. But for now, the answer is no. And that's where I am now. A year later, they're still trying. Birthdays, Christmas, they send cards. My sister sends letters apologizing, but I haven't responded. And Reddit is asking me, am I the asshole for not forgiving them? Am I the asshole for cutting off my parents for missing my wedding? Am I the asshole for not wanting them back in my life? And I genuinely don't know anymore. Okay, so here's what Reddit said in the comments. A lot of people said, you were absolutely right. Your parents made their choice. They chose your sister over you on the most important day of your life. You owed them nothing. But some people said, but they're still your parents. They made a mistake. Your sister was struggling. Maybe you could try to understand where they were coming from. And the original poster responded to some of these comments, and here's what he said. The thing that people don't understand is, this wasn't one mistake. This was a pattern. This was a lifetime of being treated second. My sister got everything. And then on the one day that was supposed to be about me, she got my parents too. At some point, you have to protect yourself. You have to say, I can't keep letting you hurt me in the name of family. And that's what I did. Do I wish things were different? Yes, I wish my parents had been there. I wish they had been good parents who didn't have a favorite. I wish they had respected my wedding day. But they didn't. And I can't change that. So all I can do is choose not to have them in my life. Is it sad? Yes, but it's also peaceful. And I'll take peaceful over sad any day. And I think he's right. At a certain point, family is what you make it. Your parents don't get unlimited chances to hurt you just because they're your parents. If someone treats you poorly, you have the right to remove them from your life, even if they're family. That's not being cruel. That's being honest. So that's the story. That's what happened. And now I want to ask you something. Do you think he was right to cut off his parents? Or do you think he should have tried to reconcile? And here's a more personal question. Have you ever had to cut someone out of your life? Even family? And do you regret it? Because I think a lot of people are dealing with this exact thing right now. People who love their family but know that being around them hurts them. And they're trying to figure out, is it okay to cut them off? And the answer is yes. It's okay. It's more than okay. It's necessary sometimes. You don't owe anyone access to you, not even family. So drop a comment and tell me what you think. Do you side with the son? Do you side with the parents? Or do you think the real victim here is the sister? Because I want to hear your perspective. And if you've been through something similar, please share your story. Because this community is about real conversations and real experiences. Thanks for watching. If you like this story, please hit like and subscribe for more. And turn on notifications because I upload new stories constantly. I'll see you in the next one.